Okay, this video is concerning Microsoft. Microsoft and GAB, actually. So the story of it is a guy named Patrick Little, who's on GAB, posted something pretty nasty. I think it was pretty anti-Semitic. And then pretty much someone from the mainstream or lamestream media went through looking for GAB, looking for something that's horrible. So they found it and they reported to Microsoft. And Microsoft tells GAB, well, this had better be removed or we're going to deplatform you. All right? No, my first response would be, no, I'm not doing it. And I'm not going to ask him to because he hasn't broken any laws. And then when Microsoft deplatforms, you sue them. But GAB is kind of in an issue also where if they get deplatformed, it could take them weeks or months to get back online, which could hurt them financially. There's a problem here. This shouldn't be allowed. We should have a simple law saying that if you are a web hosting service, you cannot deplatform something because someone said something you didn't like. That in order to protect the sanctity of the First Amendment and free speech, true free speech, that you are providing a service unless they are breaking the law, you can't deplatform people. Period. That means that, and I think that should be for banks and people like PayPal too, that they cannot remove your account unless you are actually breaking the law with their account. Also, that they cannot, and here's something else that should be against the law, is that, let's say that I'm on Twitter, but it's like, Twitter doesn't like if I say this. I'm going to say this on GAB or somewhere else, or do a video somewhere. Well, if what I do a video that Twitter doesn't like, they say, well, you did this on this other site, so we're going to ban you. That should be, no. It doesn't, I mean, and the courts probably would actually go with this one. You can't ban someone because what they said somewhere else, and stuff like this. So first off, Microsoft should have told them, listen, we're not playing this game because we're going to get a lot of heat. We have government Granted, the problem is they're a government monopoly, but these guys do like 20-year contracts with the government. That crap needs to stop. And honestly, I think the best thing to do would be for government agencies to slowly pull out of Microsoft contracts and go into stuff like Linux, Linux where they can like use different versions of Linux and stuff like that. Now granted they're not going to use Red Hat because they're a French company. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Red Hat. Red Hat actually makes a good product. They really do. They also Fedora is kind of like their Fedora is actually the free version of like Red Hat. It's like, I guess it's like an older version you can play with or something. I don't know. I know Fedora is the free version of Red Hat. And Red Hat, all it really is, it's Red Hat, all it is, it's Linux for, I'm kind of getting out of it's pretty much Linux with support is all it is. So anyway, so Microsoft, because they're using Azure, the Azure service to do their stuff. Now, if I was GAB, I'd be looking for someone real quick and put in the contract that you cannot deplatform me because someone here says something you don't like. Put that in the contract. Because I guarantee you, by putting in the contract, there's nothing they can do. And they said, if you do this, then we get like this much month free. Make it to where it's so bad, and also that we reserve the right to sue you for breach of contract. Put it in there to where, nope, you do this, there is no, it goes straight to court. And then you have to explain in a courtroom why you did this. And that would be it. The thing is, if you have something like GAB or BitChute or Minds where people just say what they want, some of the stuff is pretty awful. But it shouldn't be banned. All speech should be allowed, even the bad stuff. Because even, I'll tell you, if you are bad enough, people will not listen to you. Yeah, you'll get a few, excuse me, complete wackos. And there are people I used to listen to and I liked. But when they went on their, like, really whacked out, every once in a while they would say some kind of mean stuff that was kind of like, dude, that's kind of harsh, but, that's kind of funny. I would be like, okay, that's funny, I like that. But when they get to the point where they're just beyond the scope, I quit listening to it, to the point where it's like, dude, okay, you've got, there was a guy I used to listen to, but he went like super anti-Semitic and just complete like wrong way. I'm not going to say who it is because it's not important. And I just quit listening to it. It's like, dude, I started listening to you because I liked your view on economics and freedom, and I could understand your change on certain issues where things make more sense, and you made very good, but your anti-Semitic stuff is just ridiculous. The guy even sat there and interviewed David Duke. And it was like, okay, if you actually like David Duke, and, I've heard things that David Duke has to say just so I would know what he said. And I will tell you one thing. I think David Duke is a racist. I think he's not he actually has a doctorate in history. He's one of these people who looks at history and he sees the facts, but he misinterprets the facts for his own racist ideals, I believe. He's not a person who I would want for president. He ran. Here's one thing I get tired of hearing from Democrats. So he ran as a Republican. Well, he ran as a Democrat too. So he ran under both parties. And guess what? He didn't go nowhere because both parties honestly had nothing to do with the guy. And but the thing though, even if David Duke was on these sites or some of the worst racists you could think, so I would not demand the site bring these people down. Let these people put their crap out there so we can read what they're really saying, what they think, and then we can say, yeah, this guy is we can either say, hey, this guy's the a-hole we knew he was, and which after hearing some of the stuff David Duke says, he is the a-hole we thought he was. He's just a more smooth talker. Yeah, I don't like or support David Duke. I'm using it as an example because people know who he is. On the other hand, you could hear people say, when you hear what this person has to say, it's like, no, that's not bad. And so it's kind of hard to say. But the thing is, for Microsoft to tell someone, we don't like what someone said or who's on your site, so therefore we're going to deplatform you, is bullshit. And I think the best thing to do is pretty much tell companies like PayPal, tell banks, tell credit card companies. No, I don't like people being forced to do with it, but once you have a business relationship with someone, once the contract's up, you say at this time the contract's up and we're not going to renew your contract, but you have to give them like a certain notice saying that, like, once you're in here's what I'm trying to say. The government can't force you to do a contract with someone you don't want anything to do with, period. I believe that. But on the other hand, if you're in a contract with someone, they should be able to kick you off the contract or off the site or off the thing without telling you, hey, when you're in the middle of the contract, saying, hey, if they can't tell you at the end of the contract, we're not renewing, so you're going to have to find another service. Microsoft would have been more than saying, hey, we have this long of a contract. At the end of this contract, we're not renewing your service if you don't do this. We'll find we're not doing this, and we're going to go find someone else. And Microsoft said, if you want to find someone to leave early, we'll let you out early without any penalties, which is fine. They can do that but if you're in the middle, let's say it's a 2-year contract and you're halfway through the contract. If Microsoft dumps you, they should have to explain why. Now, if you're doing something flat out illegal, then yeah, Microsoft should dump you in a heartbeat. But if you're not doing anything illegal, you just said things that hurt people's feelings or made people upset. But no, they shouldn't. And I think the law should be said, like, let's say you're with a bank and you're using your bank. Well, the bank can't be forced, if they don't like you, they can't be forced to do business with you. But if you have an account with them and your account's being used and they don't like what you're saying, they can't sit there and do anything to harm you. They can say, hey, we're not giving you lines of credit or anything like that. They can do that, but they can't cancel your bank account. Just like if you're on PayPal and you say something someone didn't like and PayPal goes, well, it's against our terms of service to do hate speech. First off, bullshit. Second of all, it should be like, once you have an account with them, they can't cancel your account unless you break the law. Now, if you don't have an account with them and they look at you and says, hey, dude, we don't like you, we don't like that, that's fine. They can't be forced to have an account with them. But if you already have an account, then it should be harder for them that they can't cancel your account unless you do something illegal. In other words, make it say, hey, you can deny. You can say, no, you're not creating an account with us because we don't like you, which is fine. But once you have an account, make it to where they have to actually commit a criminal act before they can like kick you off their account or do something. But it has to be, fair. It can't be, oh, you made one little boo-boo, you're gone. It has to be, yeah, stuff like that. So, and this is the way where to stop Microsoft from doing crap like that. Now, if you have a month-to-month contract, then they say, hey, you have to let them know 90 days in advance that if they didn't break the law, and also make it to where where someone saying something you don't like cannot be tantamount to being kicked off. No, I don't know if GAB is month-to-month or they have a yearly or by 2-year contract or 5-year contract or whatever. But if I was GAB, I'd be looking for someone real quick. And also, as I said, put in the contract. They can't kick you off the platform because someone said something someone else didn't like. And that they cannot use hate. I mean, put that period. Because I'm telling you, somebody might sign it going, dude, I hate those a-holes anyway. I'll do it just to piss off my boss. You know, who knows? But that's what I got to say about that. And that's